A good number of Kenyan population is suffering from drug and alcohol addiction. And with the efforts of the government trying to enforce laws and trying to make sure that the officers of the provincial administration are really stopping this cheap liquor and cheap drinks from being used around the country, is still an expert view that it will take a loving and a caring rehabilitation and counseling to get the many people around Kenya from the kind of addiction that is wasting them away. And today in the People Talk Show, we have with us a former alcohol addict, Terry Wachira, who's been through it and has lost almost everything in her effort to deal with alcoholism. And she's here today with us, trying to help us understand and talking into the lives of people who are in one way or another affected by drug and alcohol addiction. My name is Solomon Were, and welcome to the show. Welcome, Madam Terry.
Thank you so much, Mr. Were.
Yes.
Yes.
Having been there, done that, what did you come out with?
Yes, my story is long, but I'll start somewhere. I am in recovery. I'm 7 years sober today. 7 years sober? Yes, and I thank God.
How long were you in addiction?
More than 15 years.
More than 15 years?
Yes.
Today you're 7 years sober?
Yes.
Give us your story.
I started drinking when I was married. After we got married with my husband is called Wachira, and we started a family like any other couple, struggling because we are both fresh from college, and we quickly had first child, the second in quick succession. Okay, the gap was 2 years, and we were both hardworking, and we worked hard towards fulfilling our goals in life as a marriage couple, and eventually. Every Sunday we would go out, we go to church and then take our children out. And as at that time, my husband was taking Tusker Export. Me, I was taking a soda. And as we went on, I picked his drink and I put a few drops in my soda because I thought this man is enjoying himself, this stuff which I had never tasted. And I didn't want it to taste. And that is how now I abandoned the soda. So every Sunday we would go out and I would take a next bottle or two. He didn't have an issue with that.
You also abandoned the soda in quick succession?
Slowly, because I was mixing until I realized now it is even diluting the taste of the soda. So now I abandoned. I bought he even ordered for me. He didn't have an issue. In the case it is an outing.
Pure export now?
Yes. So I picked the habit from there, and every Sunday or every other outing, he was also a good man. Once in a while he would take me for dine and dance. And the family was doing well, and they were growing up, and we eventually bought our first car. Later on, we started planning how we can buy a house. By this time now, our children, our firstborn was in nursery. So we bought our first house, our first car. Later on, we bought a second car. And this is the car, which my car is the one we use for the deposit of a house that we bought. When we moved, later on I had the third born. They were all girls. And our lifestyle had changed because now we had gone a grade higher. And we used to have life, good life actually. So you could afford more drinks and you could afford more time together and the happy times. Yes, even taking our children, on a holiday. So I was a secretary and he was a supervisor where he was. Eventually became a manager. So life was not very bad. Financially we were okay. We even started buying a few properties here and there in terms of plots. So eventually now my drinking was still coming up on a heavy note. Later on we bought my car because you see the first one we had paid the deposit with. And now he resigned from where he was working. He started his own company. And that period, it was not very easy because you see I had to do all the typing. He couldn't afford a secretary that time. And later on, he got one. And life was even much better. He was a hard-working man, as I said before. So life picked up again, and we could afford going out, you know, even better than before, good hotels. So he also employed a driver. By this time, I'm dropping the children in the morning and picking them in the evening. So I take them to school in the morning. When I go to work in the evening, I pick them up. So when he employed the driver, I didn't have to do that in the evening. So the driver used to take them home with his car. And that is now the time I found I had also a few hours in my hands. Mm-hmm. And there is a place we normally used to go to drink. We used to call it drive-in. Mm-hmm. You drive and then you hoot, and then someone comes and serves you while you're in the car. Mm-hmm. And that is a place where even among our friends used to team up with other couples, and we do drive there. So this habit, I continued with it. Like Saturdays after we do shopping with other lady friends of mine, we would meet that same joint.
Now, even without your husband being present?
Yes, yes. And in any case, I used also to tell him, tumepitia that place.
And he had no problem?
He had no problem, because, you know, nothing wrong was being done anyway. Like Saturday afternoon, and then by 5 I would be home. But eventually my drinking took another turn. That when I left the job now, I mean, at the end of the day, since the driver was taking the children home, now I would pass through there, swallow a few very quickly, and go home. And now even we had drinks in the house, actually.
Your body was now demanding more drinks?
I think so. It's just a habit, really, that time. And we even had alcohol in the house, actually. We had vodka, we had wines, we had Tuskers. So it was really not an issue. But now it became an issue when one time I found him home at 9. And then he asked me, what time is this? Nikamwambia mi hata sijui. And then he gave me a very big slap. And I think he had known I'm getting late. And now he wanted to stop that habit. But, you know, I think I was rude when I asked him. I don't even know the time. Now he asked me, now surely, the kids, they need attention. You don't even know what they eat. Mm-hmm. You have not even checked their homework.
Yes.
And that started our small differences, but it led to another fight after a long time. Then, of course, I stopped immediately to drink. And then I would rush through there again.
Drive-in,
the drive-in corner. And then I remember the third fight that we had, it was bad. Because he came early, and I was also early in the house, but I was drinking now from the house. Not that was not the issue, but the issue was, I think I was rude. I don't remember what I said, but he really beat me up.
In your opinion, before we continue, don't you think that alcoholism and drinking plays quite a big role when it comes to family conflicts?
Yes, alcoholism and drug addiction is a brain disease. And the person who is affected, we normally say one person is infected, and that person affects the whole family. So my acceleration of drinking, I did not see it that time. This is the time I'm reflecting where I started. And I see that maybe, I'm saying just maybe, if I had maybe a counselor, or maybe someone told me where I'm heading to, I'm saying maybe I could have stopped. But now things went from bad to worse. So after this beating, I decided to leave this man. But I don't think I wanted to leave him. I wanted to teach him a lesson.
Yes, in quotes.
In quotes.
And show him that you're important.
Yes.
And you can have your way anyway.
Yes. So I planned how to move from that house. By this time we had 4 daughters. And the last one was about 7 years. So I planned it quietly. I didn't tell anybody. I waited until the children are in school. Because they were, you know, that day I don't remember what happened. I think I rushed them to school, and then I had already organized where I'm going to move to. And I came back very quickly. I took my clothes and I went. And then I made it sure it is a Friday. That time there were no mobiles, so he could not get me until Monday when he would ring in the office. And that is the lesson I wanted to teach him, according to me that time. So now I had gotten a few friends from Buruburu, and I told them to get me a house, but I didn't say it was mine. I said I had a cousin from Nakuru who needed a house urgently. So a house was got for me in Umoja, and that is where I moved to. I furnished it since, as I said, I was working as a secretary. I had a good job. And they started another life.
All that is being created by this alcoholism in the home now.
It is.
That is now looking for more room to drink.
Yes.
Unsupervised.
Yes. And true enough, as I moved to the other side, now I became a bachelor. So there are no children, nobody to tell me what to do and when to go home.
No responsibilities.
No responsibilities, and my alcoholism went a notch higher. Though I was not spoiling any job, I didn't mess my job. The evening, imagine, in the evening I would ask when we are stopping the work. I mean, we would stop at 4:30. By 5 I would be somewhere. And I remember asking somebody who was living those sides, which are your drinking dens, this side? Then he told me a few places. But anyway, I still had a car, so I just drove, and I discovered new friends. When you are drinking, it's very easy to get your friends. You don't even have to look for them.
They bond faster?
They bond faster. Even if right now I am drinking and I just drive to a pub, I would make friends very easily.
What do you think accelerates the bonding?
It is the drinking and the loneliness. People who are drinking, they want to bond and to feel they are part of a certain community. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like now if I want to walk in a pub right now,
yes,
and sit there at a corner and start ordering a drink,
yes,
you'll find someone saying, a waiter coming and said, hey, madam, unakunywa nini na dhati mjamaa anataka kukununulia. People who drink are very generous. Mm. They are very, very generous.
With the drinking.
With the
they
drinking.
Are generous with the drinking.
With the drinking.
Not any other thing.
Not anything else. Because now you are in another environment. Yes. And you like to feel you are part and parcel of that environment. And that is why bonding in drinking is very easy. Mm-hmm. You don't have to know anybody's name. Neither do they ask anybody any name. But at the same time, I found myself drinking in the sense that even these people I joined, yeah, some of them we were working together. And by 10, I would ask them, hey, mbona mnakimbia haraka sana? And it's not even late. Looking at the time, it would be 10. So my drinking went a notch higher. And apparently, I used to shop for my children.
Oh, yes.
During the working hours, mm-hmm. Then I would rush. I would tell my boss I'm going to the bank. Mm-hmm. And I would buy them quickly because I didn't want to meet Mr. Wachira. Mm-hmm. I was fearing that he might beat me up or something.
Oh, yes. You had left the home now. You've left being a wife and being a mother.
Yes.
Did it not leave you with some emptiness and loneliness? How did you deal with that? I
was not lonely at all because I was working full time. By 5, I used to be in that joint.
Yes.
But in between, there is a thought that used to come. But sorry, let me go back. After I moved on a Friday, he tried to call me on a Monday. He called me.
Yes.
And I disconnected. 3 times he called that day.
It's natural, him wanting to know where you are.
Yes, and I disconnected. And then the other person who called me after 1 month is my big brother, who was like my dad to me.
Oh, yes.
There was a big gap between me and him, so he was like my dad, someone I really respected. And he told me how upset he is that he learned that I have walked out of my marriage. Mm. And then he set up a meeting, and I confirmed that I'm going to that meeting on a Saturday, because Mr. Wachira had told him about that, how I left home. I confirmed that I'm going, but come Saturday, I was busy drinking with a certain lady.
You forgot, or you
I did not forget.
Deliberately missed that?
I wanted to punish them, because I knew now they were in High Court. They were waiting for Tere Wachira. So for me, I told this lady, do you know there are some people waiting for me somewhere to grill me and to really crucify me. Crucify. Then I said, who? She knows my big brother. I said, Mr. So-and-so, that's my brother's name. She said, no, you can't be serious. You mean Wachira and the wife of your brother and your brother, they are waiting for you now? I said, yes. She said, no, please, do me a favor. She pleaded, let's leave this drink. You rush, go see them, you come back. Mm-hmm. I said, if you want to represent me, don't deny me the pressures that I'm enjoying. Watch what you enjoy. Those are the words I said. And in fact, when you are drinking, the feelings become dead. Because if it is like numb, yeah, that is the word. Because if it's like now, I can't do that. I can't do that to my brother.
Your conscience is alive again.
Yes. So it went on. My brother was very annoyed that he never called me again. So it went on like that until later on I got into a relationship. and I got a son. When I got a son, life went on. I employed a house girl. But in between this, my girls used to come for me, to see me. They used to visit. And I would shop for them. We would talk on the phone. I even put a phone where I was working, in my home. If they don't get me at the place of work, we used to communicate. But all this time, things are moving and the girls are going on with their lives. But my drinking was higher and higher. Until one time I became a victim of retrenchment. The company that I worked for retrenched 5 years and under, and I fell in that category since I was only 4 years. But it is not because of performance. Mm-hmm. But I know very well it could have led to that, yes. The way I was drinking every day. Mm-hmm. When I fell in this category, they gave me money, which was put in the bank, and my life went down. My drinking went higher, my eating went down.
Because now you had lots of money in your bank account.
Yes.
And less responsibility.
I never thought of looking for a job. I said to myself, Wanjiro, give yourself a holiday.
Did you ever thought of maybe calling your husband? Did you had some spare love for him?
No. Not that I can remember. I never remembered him, seriously speaking. I think the alcohol is a brain disease, as I said, and it numbs the feelings. And it become now harder and harder, hardened and hardened, without me seeing it. Yeah, but this time now, when I was retrenched, I used to drink it from morning. I said to myself, my friends are all working that time, and I bought a crate of Tusker Export. I put in the house. So I would drink in the morning. By 10, 11, I would sleep. Wake up at 3, 4.
More time to yourself now?
Yes. Then I would go to the joints. In fact, they would even find me there, the people who are coming at 5.
You're through with drinking, your private drinking in your house. You're now joining the rest for company?
Yes. And then I would drink until about 10 or 11. And then that, I saw, we didn't have a problem with the landlady because I had a standing order. So the money went on until one time I went to the bank, and then the teller, cashier, told me there's no money. That time we used to write whatever slips, and she told me, she whispered.
Yes.
I told her it is not possible.
Oh.
Then she sent me to get the statement. That is when I saw that there was nothing.
You used to just drink, yes, and then sign off, and they would collect the money from the bank?
No, I used to get money from the bank.
Yes.
I would go with the cash.
Yes.
Whatever I'm drinking. You see, like now I used to withdraw once a week.
Yes. And
then of course, minus is not plus. So I used to minus my account by drinking, every week.
Yes.
But I didn't realize that this money will eventually get finished.
We'll come back and we'll pick up from there.
Asante.
We are talking about the problem and the suffering addicts in this country. It is a big problem, and something has got to be done about them, because many of our men and women are being wasted away in a problem that can otherwise be solved and be rehabilitated. Then these people can become reasonable people in the society. I'm Solomon Were. Please don't change that dial. If you touch the remote, just touch it to increase the volume. Welcome back, viewer, to the People Talk Show, a talk show that highlights on topical issues of public concern. And today we are talking about alcohol and drug abuse and how these people in our society can be helped. You remember that there are many people out there who doesn't know what to do in the situation they are in, and they are already addicted and nobody is helping them in any way. I'm talking to Terry Wachira, a woman who has been transformed from a former addict to a counselor, an addict counselor who counsels the addict from their state to normal, reasonable people back to be productive in the society. Welcome back.
My big brother died of heart attack, and I used to go for handout from my brother's office. In between, I'm dry, I'm missing the rent.
Yes.
Sina ya kukula. So I used to go to my brother's office and give him some stories. Then, of course, he's looking at me. I'm now becoming very thin. And because of the child, of course, he would sympathize and give me something. In between this, I'm going to all my friends in Nairobi for handouts. But one time now, later on, when he died, I switched to my sister-in-law. And my sister-in-law used to say, now, what will I do with you? In between this time, when I'm going for handouts, there is a big brother of mine who was in Baburi, Portland. He was a big man there. Okay, he was an engineer. And he too fell in the trap of addiction. He parted ways with his wife. He left his wife and 2 children in Mombasa. He came to Nairobi. Before my brother died, he used to come to my brother, and my brother used to get him a job. And 2 jobs. After he is paid, he disappears. Then when he comes, of course, there is no job. Until my brother told him, now, you are a big man, take care of yourself. My brother, this second one, the one older than me, was living in Mukuru Kayaba, in industrial area. I was now living in Kahawa Wedani. But we are not meeting. But we used to meet with my sister-in-law for handouts, sometimes coincidentally. So my sister-in-law used to ask. So you're 2 addicts who are depending on someone? My sister-in-law, yes, the wife of my brother. So one time alikuwa ananiuliza, what will I do with you, the 2 of you? The day before yesterday, your brother was here. Now you are here. Surely, when will you get a hold of yourself? So one of these times when I went to her, she asked me, how is the son? I said, she is okay. Ako klasi gani? I said, he is not in school. What? Since when? Since May. Wanjiru, I can't believe this. Are you okay? She almost beat me up. Then she calculated, she looked at me. I was not even feeling pain or anything. Conscience dead. It was, I told you, it numbs the feelings. I was just looking at her, wondering why she's making a fuss. Then she called my sister, the only sister I have in Karatina, and they organized, I take this boy to Karatina. My sister had young children. So by this time, before this particular time, there's a lady who introduced me to insurance at Westlands, British American Insurance, and I started selling insurance. And you don't get paid until you get business. Yes. So, but anyway, it was somewhere where I can look forward to going. But I started selling kidogo. So during this time now, she had somewhere to contact me. My sister-in-law had somewhere where she can leave a message. So one time I found the message and I called her back. Those times there were no mobiles, or only landlines. So she called me to her office. She told me, now we have agreed with Mombi. My sister is called Mombi. Take the child to Karatina. I'll be sending the money. Let her bring up this boy, because otherwise he's going to waste away. He's growing up and he's not in school. That's how I took my child. She gave me money for the rent, for the girl, for this house girl, so that I may release her. And then I took the child home. And then she told me, now you yourself, you take care of yourself. That's how I came back to Nairobi very fast. And now I had to move from these 2 rooms now. Now they're expensive. And mimi ni peke yangu. So I reasoned, I went to look for a 1-room mabati house in Kangemi. And now I had to sell all these things. I went to Kangemi with just a bag. And then this lady, the landlord there, asked me, where are your things? I said, I don't have anything. But I told her now I was thrown away by my husband. Pathological liar. She said, they are all mad, leave them alone. Why? Does he throw away such a beautiful woman? Maybe she'd gone through some problem too. I think so, and but now compounding the belief. I was so happy because now she's siding with me, because I didn't give her the story, and she's now with me. She gave me a blanket and a mattress, and that is how I started my life in Kangemi. So I normally say my story is from grace to grass, but I want to say alcoholism and drug addiction is a brain disease. It affects I was infected. One person is infected, and the whole family is affected. How is the whole family affected? How many people did I affect? I affected my daughters, my son, my family. I destroyed my family. And the people who loves me, my in-laws, people who loves me and who cares for me. But now, my own friends used to look at me when I'm going out for handouts to their offices. Then they would wonder. One, I was very thin. I was now very unkempt. As senior secretary now, my hair is going, wild. I was very thin, and even I would go without even applying anything, mafuta on my face. Sometimes I would go with the muddy shoes in town. It was a total changeover. And at the same time, when someone is drinking, does not have any self-esteem. My self-esteem was at the lowest end. I could not see anything big. You are looking at me in a strange way, but me, I would wonder why you are looking at me in a strange way. because there's such, the brain is affected, the reasoning is affected.
Okay, before we come to the point whereby you now started recollecting yourself and reconstructing yourself to becoming who you are now, would you mind tell me who are these people that you separated with that later on you got to reconcile with? And
Oh, my family?
yes.
Okay, I left 4 daughters and I left my husband. And also, at the same time, I have my other family where I belong, who have given me birth. And okay, my parents were not there, but I have brothers and sisters. I have 1 sister. I have also my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, and all my in-laws who loved me so much. Even now, they love me. Because during this time, in fact, it's good you have asked me, my father-in-law had sent for me. And he told me he cares for me, and he doesn't care, and he doesn't want to know why me and Wachira, we are not together. But he wanted to recognize me that I am his daughter. And he told me, if you don't have any fare, just borrow the fare to come here, then I'll be refunding. And I saw love. Even I went with my son, and he did bless this boy. And he even asked me why I have named him my father. Because I don't know how Kikuyu tradition is, but my mother told me that is how it is. I should have named him after him.
Okay.
Yeah, I should have named my son after him, but he loved the son, and he put me in another level,
Yes.
and I felt loved. He's the only one whom
It's like you are now looking for love.
Yes, I was seeking for someone to understand me and at least to appreciate, even where I was down.
Yes.
Just someone to tell me she loves me, or he loves me. So now, during this time, my brother, I told you about my firstborn brother who died of heart attack. This other brother is in Mukuru Kayaba. One time he went to my sister-in-law's office.
He's an addict too?
Yes, he was a very, very much addict. You remember, he came from Bamburi. He came to Nairobi after getting a job. Every month he would disappear. He would drink until that money is finished. Coming back to the job, of course, it's not there. And now, this day he went to my sister-in-law and told her, today give me something, but I'll never bother you again. Then she said, oh, he was called Gatti. Gatti, I'm happy. If you have gotten yourself a job, I'm very excited. He said, Apana, sio mambo ya job, but I'll never bother you again. My brother is given something for the landlord and something to eat, and then he goes and writes this letter. He goes and buys rat poison and a rope, and he writes a note. I am tired of living. I don't want to be buried in Nyeri. I want to be buried in Langata. Na sina ubaya na mtu. And then at the bottom he wrote my sister-in-law's number. That time there were mobiles, the name and the number. So my brother committed suicide. He took the poison. Apparently it didn't work in the night. Then he took the rope and hanged. Why we know that is because of their post-mortem. He was sworn, yeah, but everything was on the table. So now the following day, the neighbor is cleaning the kufagia pale nje, a lady. Then sees my brother's door is open, checks, how come, that door is open. Then he finds my brother, and then she screamed. Then a neighbor now rushes to industrial police to call the police. So now my sister-in-law is called, and then she called my other brother. I have only one brother who is alive. He was working in Westlands. Then he called her son. Her son was a big man. So the two went to identify the body at City Mortuary. That's how I lost my brother, in alcoholism, 2006.
How did this contribute to a turnaround?
Now, my brother, as he had written, I don't want to be buried in Nyeri. I want to be buried in Langata. Come Monday now, my sister-in-law is looking for me in my place of work where I was going for insurance. She called the whole day. I wasn't there. I was busy drinking in Kangemi. She called on Tuesday morning. I have not gone. Something touched me at around 2. I felt I wanted to call there, because that is where we picked the messages from the client. I can be called to close the deal. I can be called to take up the premiums, and then I bring them to the office. So I called, then the secretary tells me, Mrs. Wachira, honestly, there's a lady who has called since yesterday, and she sounds desperate. And she told me, I'm not giving you any other message, call that lady. So she told me the name, and then I got, something touched me. Then do you know what I felt that day? I felt maybe my children have become sick, maybe my children have died. You know why? The other children I've never communicated for so long.
The ones you left with their father?
Yes. The other one, I don't even know how he has been. I don't even call there.
The sister took her?
The one now in Karatina.
Yes.
That is where my son is. I don't call them. I don't call the others. And now I have been in my own island. So from the call box, I called very quickly my sister-in-law. Then she told me, the first thing she said, where are you? Wanjiru, where are you? Then I said, I'm in Kangemi. Didn't you go to work? I'm sick. What did I say about lying? Automatic, pathological lie. And she said, now, I want to see you. I said, when? He said, now. No, now it's about 3. You can't reach industrial area. Then he said, tomorrow, fasting in the morning. Then I said, the children, because nilistuka nikafikiria. Akasema no. Oh, imagine nikarelax. Akaniambia, but I want to see you fasting in the morning. Nikamwambia sina fare. Akasema borrow, I'll come and tutalipa baadaye. So fasting in the morning, I went to her office, and this is what she told me about my brother, how he took his life, and even she showed me that letter. And now my brother was lying in City Mortuary. Don't forget now, he died Friday night after he left her office, committed suicide, and now he told me now what happened, what transpired, and now this is Wednesday. So she says, I've called the wife, and I've called my relatives. Most of my relatives are in Nairobi, and we are burying him on Saturday. As per his wish, we are burying him in Langata. So akaniambia, now, are you coming home? I said no. So let's meet, call me on Friday. So I went, and coming back now to Kangemi, where I was drinking his wines and spirits. It was owned by a lady called Joki. We are calling her Kijo. And I told Kijo, she told me, how come your eyes are red? I said, I have lost my brother. He said, oh, Paul sana, let me buy you one for Paul. So everybody coming in there that day used to be told, you are coming making noise, and Wanjiru has lost his brother, her brother. Oh, Paul, please give her 2 for my Paul. So the whole of that week, nilikuwa na kona yangu ya Paul. And don't forget, these are spirits. Yes. They were smelling bad. This is the time I recollect. They really smell bad. But anyway, the whole of that week I was there, almost killing myself now. Come Saturday now, we are in
burial.
The burial. Now there are prayers. There are prayers now so that we intern him. It's from the catechist from Holy Family Basilica. And he says, pointing at the coffin, if you see a case like this one, another one might follow. Suicide is contagious. Then that thing struck my sister-in-law. I was very thin this time. I was very unkempt. I was the opposite of what I am today. And she remembered. She just looked at me and saw death. And after we were now greeting each other, she told me, Wanjiru, I want us to go home. I said, no, I'll come home. She said, no, what's wrong with you? Your sister is here, and you can spend the night in my house while she tells you about the son. I said, no, I'll come home. I'll come tomorrow. You know why? You know I had drinks in Kangemi.
Yes, the drinks for condolence.
This is now, we call it insanity in alcoholism now. It reaches that level where you have no feelings. The feelings are dead, kabisa, long dead. If I cannot go with my sister to my sister's-in-law's place, aniambie mambo ya mtoto na mtoto wangu, surely what do you call that? Insanity. Now come tomorrow. Of course, when I left to Kangemi now, wananinulia kutoa vumbi. Unajua vumbi Langata tukimwaga hii ni vumbi.
Yes.
But the following day now, I go to their place, and then to my sister-in-law's house, and then she tells me, after I'm given tea and whatever, I told Wanjiru, I want to help you. Now my sister-in-law is the one telling me, I want to help you. I've looked at the case of your brother Gatia, and I want to help you. I want to take you to a rehab. Then I asked her, what is a rehab? That time I didn't know, of course. Then she says it's a place where you can get counseling, and I'm sure, Wanjiru, I'm 100% sure that you turn around. I've looked at you, and I know if you are willing to get well, I want to help you. I want to sponsor you. Then I told her I'm ready. She didn't trust me. Of course she can't. Then she says, no, think about it. Ring me on Thursday. If you seriously want to consider that, because I'm paying money. Yeah, ring me on Thursday. I called her on Wednesday. Between this time, I used to go to Holy Family in town. I used to wait for people to come out of the mass. I would go there in front. I would talk to God, crying. Because there are times I felt I didn't want to drink, but the body was weak.
Yes.
There's a time I talked to God. I told God, let me tell you, I want to go back to my family. But God, why am I drinking? You told us you made us in your own image. But do you drink yourself if you are in the same image? I want to stop drinking, but I don't know how. My body is weak, but my heart, nimefika mwisho.
Well, Terry, we have very little time.
Yeah.
And now I just want you to recap very fast about how, you finally went to the rehab.
Yes.
And the rest, of course, is history.
Yes.
And you're now a made person, and the things that you like people to know about addiction and how others in the society can be assisted.
Yes. So after I was taken to a rehab for 3 months, and that was my turning point. I met a lady who was a counselor, and we really struck like the same story. And I told her I would like to be a counselor like her. So she told me, talk to the director. After I talked to the director, he told me, towards the end, take my number. Towards the end, my sister-in-law came and told me she wanted me to go back home. I told her what home. Said, I want you to go to Wachira's house. Because they are also cancelled. We also encourage families to be cancelled. And she was told that if I want to go back to the same environment, I may relapse. So that is how now I got home. I went back home, and it was not easy, but we had a case. We had a session with Wachira. Wachira, during this time, Wachira got married. He left my children. My 2 daughters were working, and he got married. He went to stay with the wife the other side, but he went with my last born daughter. So now I told my daughter, my firstborn daughter, lives with me, to call him. Then we had a case. We discussed it, and I apologized. I told them how alcoholism is, because the much I knew, and we learned, I told them to forgive me. Let me say this, alcoholism and drug addiction reduces a king to a poor man or to a pauper. And I would say this, when you find yourself drinking daily, drinking heavily over the weekend, drinking, in the sense that sometimes you lose memory, tunasema blackout, that is also a danger. When you calculate in a week how much you are spending, and you find that it is so much, please reduce that drinking and go for counseling. And now I want to give people hope, but that do not disown your daughter, do not disown your son, do not disown your husband, do not disown your wife. Please take my number and call us. Please call me, because that is, I want to give hope that you cannot buy life from a supermarket. And never give up on people who are drinking. For me, I'm now 7 years sober, and I'm happy to say that I want to live a sober life by God's grace. I put God first. I'm now born again, and I thank God that I want to live helping others to get out of alcoholism, because tunasema you are enslaved by this drink. I used to live to use, and used to live. I used to use to live, and live to use. I was enslaved by alcohol. I was tied. We normally say now, I am ready. I'm like Saul. Saul persecuted Christians, but me, I went through fire so that I may give other people hope. I was in the pit, but my sister-in-law pulled me out. That is what we say in alcoholism. I'm ready to pull other people out. When you hear my story, please call me. Let's give each other hope. Because life is very precious.
Thank you very much, Terry Wachira, for coming to the studio to be with us and to share with us this problem that is really affecting the society today. That has been Terry Wachira, a former alcoholism addict who has changed, rehabilitated, and is now an addiction counselor. I've been your host, Solomon Were. This has been the People Talk Show, where we bring people and issues of public concern. Until next time, God bless you.